Black Planet, how you doing? This is Chef Jay, and you are watching Culinary Creations right here on BPTV. I get a lot of notes asking me, hey Chef, I'm at home alone. I need to find a quick meal that I could make just for me. I don't want to have a lot of leftovers. What can I do? The other note that I get a lot of is, I like steak at restaurants. What can I do to get that nice sear on my steak and really lock in the flavor so that it's nice and meaty and juicy? So what I'm going to do today is show you how to get a nice sear on a great steak and also have a nice little meal just for you. Coming up right here on Culinary Creations on BPTV. For today's recipe, you'll need one thick, well marbelized ribeye, one red pepper cut in half and then sliced thin, 6 to 8, maybe more, shrimp, 4 to 5 white button mushrooms, 1 cup of heavy cream, a stick of butter, some extra virgin olive oil, really good meat seasoning. You can make up your own. For equipment, you will need a cast iron skillet. Okay, so here's the first thing we're going to need. We're going to need a nice piece of steak. And as you can see, this piece of steak is very well marbleized. This is a ribeye. As you can see, it has nice marbleization, which is the fat that's in the meat. The first thing you're going to do is take your seasoning and you're going to rub that all over your steak. Okay? You want to make sure you get a nice coat of seasoning on the steak. Okay, flip it over. Always season both sides. Okay, rub it in nicely. Get it everywhere, even on the sides. Yes, the sides of the steak cooked too. Okay, now you could use any type of meat seasoning that you want to. I made up my own special seasoning, special rub. Yeah, it's only on me. The next thing you're going to need is to let that sit for a little bit. The next piece of equipment that is integral into getting a good steak is a nice cast iron skillet. I've had this cast iron skillet, and the only thing you need to do with it is wipe it out when you're done, put in, as you can see, oil in there, as well as some kosher salt, rub it in. That'll keep the cast iron skillet nice and hot. What we're going to do is we're going to get this up to a nice smoking hot temperature. You need to see smoke coming out of the pan, and then you'll know that you're ready to put your meat in there. Okay, so as you can see, we got a nice smoking hot pan. It's very hot, so be careful. You want to make sure that you have a side towel available, because this is cast iron. The handle gets hot and everything else like that. Put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in here. We want to take our steak that's been sitting in our nice seasoning, and we just want to put it right in there. Now, here's the thing. Don't touch this steak. I know you want to touch it. I know you want to move it around. I know you want to see what's going on. Let it sit for a little while. Probably about a minute or so. 2 minutes if it's really thick. You want to get a nice crust and a nice sear on the steak. Okay, so we've had our steak on one side for about a minute, minute and a half. What we want to do, oh, that's beautiful. We want to flip that steak over, and we just want to take it now. I'm going to turn this off. Okay? We got nice crust on that steak. That's our seasoning. That's our spices. That's everything nice and crusty. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into a 375-degree oven and let it cook the rest of the way through. What I'm going to do is when I see blood start to come to the top, then I'm going to know that that's perfectly medium and good enough for me. Okay, as you can see, I got nice blood coming up to the top. If you touch this, that is absolutely perfectly medium, just the way I like it. Steak is nice and seared. What we're going to do is we are going to take this out and I'm going to put it on a little rack in order for it to cool. These pan drippings, which are going to be the basis of our sauce, let me show you what to do. We're going to take this to the sink and we're going to dump out that excess grease. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pan drippings and we're going to make a nice sauce. The first thing I want to do is I want to put in my mushrooms and I want to put in my red peppers. Okay? The reason I'm putting those in first is because they take longer to cook. And what's going to happen is those mushrooms are going to soak up a lot of the oil that's in the bottom of the pan. I don't want to deglaze just yet because I don't want those soups to come up and soak into the mushrooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with a little bit of salt. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Okay? And I want some clean oil in there. I didn't want to use the oil that I had. So I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, so as you can see, our mushrooms have broken down nicely. I added a little bit more olive oil in there because we needed a little bit more fat in the pan. I took off that original fat and I added a little more in. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my shrimp that I've peeled, and I left the tail on because it's really nice that way, and I'm going to throw them right in. Shrimp take a very short period of time to cook, so I'm going to then hit it with my my cream. And I'm going to let that cook for another minute or so until my shrimp get nice and pink. You don't want to let them cook too long, because if they cook too long, they'll be rubbery. And we'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, our shrimp are nice and pink. They're done. I don't want them to curl all the way over because then that'll be really nasty and they'll be rubbery. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to hit it with some Parmesan cheese. The next thing I'm going to do that's going to incorporate everything is my pan drippings from my steak. I'm going to pour those into my sauce. Oh yeah. And this is ready to go. The last thing I'm going to do is called Montiumber, and I'm going to melt my sauce with a little bit of butter, just about 2 tablespoons of butter. This is going to get it nice. It's going to bind it all together. You want to put a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and I'm going to plate this dish up, and we'll be right back. And there you have it, surf and turf my way, ribeye steak with shrimp and red pepper and mushroom sauce. Enjoy.